Hello everyone, Vic here with another video. Today we're doing another Battle of the Franchise video, and we're doing Nightmare on Elm Street versus Child's Play. Two iconic series, two iconic killers. Freddy Krueger, of course, old pizza face Freddy Krueger versus the doll that won't quit, Chucky himself. Mr. Assume the position so I can put my soul into your body, which almost never works throughout the entire franchise. But today, we're comparing each franchise movie by movie to each other to see which one comes on top. That's right, from the producers who brought you the Halloween versus Friday the 13th video. We're here with Elm Street versus Child's Play. And of course, as always, if you like this video, please give the thumbs up, hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. So let's get into it. Let's go with Nightmare on Elm Street, the OG, versus Child's Play, 1984 versus 1988. Of course, you have to think about the state of horror at this point. I mean, Friday the 13th has come, Halloween has come, slashers are so huge in the early to mid 80s. And then Nightmare on Elm Street comes and kind of blows the whole thing up in a good way because it really becomes the franchise for the second half of the 80s. That's right. If you look up any kind of box office numbers, Nightmare on Elm Street was pretty much blowing away Friday the 13th and blowing away Halloween in the second half of the 80s. Freddy was the #1 box office draw in horror from 1984 until 1991, I'd say. And then you have Child's Play, which came in 1988, which is kind of late to the party, but is coming with a new original idea. A killer doll, a criminal who is put into a doll's body, who wants to get into a child's body and is willing to kill anybody who stands in the way. So it's a pretty original idea. Of course, done by Don Mancini, directed by Tom Holland, who previously had directed the great vampire movie Fright Night, which we all know and love. So let's talk about these two original films and compare them because, in my opinion, they both franchises took kind of similar directions where the villains in the franchises both eventually would become sort of parodies, caricature of themselves, more comedic. There's comedic seeds planted with both Chucky and Freddy in both of these original movies, but they both are a lot more grounded in reality. The first Nightmare on Elm Street, I would say, is more of a straightforward horror film, and the original Child's Play, I would say, also is more of a straightforward horror film. So they're not really leaning into the comedy yet. With a lot of these horror franchises, the first maybe one or two movies are pretty serious, but then as the character becomes more iconic, it seems it leans more into comedy, more of the horror villain winking at the audience, more of the audience cheering for the horror villain and being in on the joke. But there's not so much of that here in these original films, which I think makes them both very, very refreshing. Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, comes from the brilliant, maybe sadistical mind of Wes Craven, one of the best horror directors, if not the best horror director of all time. He had a great concept of a dream killer who it was sort of inspired by the idea of Freddy himself was inspired by, I guess, when Wes Craven was a kid, he was in an apartment complex, looked out his window, and saw a creepy old man on the street who looked up and made eye contact with him right there in the window. And then this old, which Wes Craven assumed was maybe like a homeless dude, then actually walks into the apartment building and starts to walk up the stairs. And Wes Craven, I guess, is like listening outside of his door and hearing the steps of the guy coming up the stairs. And he thought this whole thing was just this homeless dude just really going to a great extent to scare the hell out of a young Wes Craven. So he took that as the idea of Freddy Krueger, just like somebody like a creepy old man that takes such joy in scaring a little kid like that. So that's kind of the basis for Freddy. But I don't know if there was any great inspiration for Chucky, but this original Child's Play film does have Chucky taking on more of a voodoo slant, which Don Mancini, of course, I guess, didn't really want to include in the future sequels as much, wanted to get away from the whole voodoo arc thing. But it's here in the original one. It makes sense. I mean, Charles Lee Ray, a bank robber, gets shot down in a toy store as a last resort, picks out his damn voodoo knowledge to put himself in a doll, and then has to get himself out of the doll. So it's a very interesting concept, the same way that Nightmare has an original concept as well. Tom Holland, again, a great director, but directing-wise, I'm going to say Wes Craven directs the shit out of the first Nightmare, so I give the edge directing-wise. Visual effects, everything with those dream sequences, even though some of those things look a little bit hokey. I mean, Freddy in that first film, when he catches on fire and you can see it's an obvious stuntman, he's run down the stairs. Some of those shots are kind of hokey, and especially the worst one being the very last shot when, the Freddy comes and grabs the mom doll and pulls her through the door thing at the very, very end. There's some cheesy stuff in Nightmare on Elm Street for sure. But I think with these original two movies, I'm gonna have to side with the original Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it's still a little bit more of a classic in the horror genre than Child's Play. And Alex Vincent playing Andy Barclay is one of the better child performances in horror films. Now, I'm not always a huge fan of children actors in horror films. Sometimes I feel like performances are terrible, which I mostly blame the directors and the writing. But Andy Barclay is a very likable main character here. And Chris Sarandon, who plays Detective Mike, who for some reason Chucky never ever goes after again in the series, even though it would seem that from this movie that Detective Mike should be Chucky's main arch nemesis in the entire damn franchise. But Chris Sarandon, who is here from Fright Night, which was also from Tom Holland, does a great job here. Not as good as Fright Night, but solid actor. Andy Barclay's mother does a great job. On the Nightmare side, in terms of acting, you have a very, 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 very young Heather Langenkamp, and you have Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp really wasn't the Johnny Depp we know at this point, was kind of playing things straight, and pretty good performance. Heather Langenkamp, I think, is a standout final girl, better than Laurie Strode, in my opinion. And John Saxon's always great in the cop role as the father. And of course, I mean, in terms of the villains themselves, man, this is a push because Freddy Krueger is as iconic as they come, and Robert Englund really brings a lot to the role. Especially in this first Nightmare film, he strikes a balance of really being, I would say, actually having a balance. I would say he's 99% scary and 1% fun. He's really not going for laughs here in this first one. He's not really playing to the camera the way he would in the sequels. But Brad Dourif is the voice of Chucky, man. I'll tell you what. If there's a more iconic voice in horror film, maybe Tony Todd, but other than that, man, Brad Dourif as Chucky is iconic as hell. And I don't think they're going for laughs in Child's Play, but everything Chucky says just ends up making me laugh. I don't know why, but it's just there's so much comedy in his performance. So this first one, I'm going overall with Nightmare on Elm Street over Child's Play, although I think they're both iconic films. I think that the first Nightmare on Elm Street is a little bit more well thought out, a little more well paced, and I think Child's Play, I think a pretty good script, but it doesn't have the visuals also that Wes Craven and the sort of imagination that Wes Craven brings to Nightmare. But let's go to the sequels. Now we're going to go to Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 versus Child's Play 2. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is pretty polarizing. When I was growing up, a lot of people just didn't like the movie. They didn't really get it, didn't see the appeal of it. Um, Robert Englund, the character of Freddy here is kind of different than the first one. They don't really know what the franchise is yet, so they're kind of playing loose with the rules there. And in this movie, Freddy's trying to take over our main character Jesse's body, and he's trying to, I don't know, I guess become a real life person so he can kill people in the real world. Also, it's a bit puzzling with the stories of Nightmare 2, in my opinion, but there's some genuinely scary scenes. And again, Freddy here in this movie is creepy and scary, not yet played for laughs. So I've come to appreciate some things about Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. I think it's a worthy and fun sequel for sure. And a lot of people like the movie a lot, which I can completely. On the other hand, Child's Play 2, I'm just going to come out and say it. It's actually better than Child's Play 1. Child's Play 2, if you watch them back to back, I don't see anybody really coming away feeling like Child's Play is a better movie than Child's Play 2. It's a sequel that enhances and basically builds on and improves upon everything from the original more than most horror movies have ever done. So I think Child's Play 2 is one of the rare sequels that surpasses the original. Again, Alex Vincent with an even better performance, a more seasoned Alex Vincent, a little bit older and wiser Andy Barclay, able to deal with Chucky a little bit better this time around. You have his sort of sister-like figure in Kyle, who is an unusual but great kick-ass final girl, and you got Brad Dourif really locking in on the role of Chucky now. He's got the voice, the mannerisms, the attitude. He's got that stuff down. And as decent as Nightmare 2 is, nothing really approaches the last 20 minutes of Child's Play 2. The last 20 minutes of Child's Play 2 might be damn near the best final ending climax of a horror sequel I've ever seen. Everything in that toy factory at the end is fantastic. So much good, from the makeup effects to the fake deaths of Chucky. Chucky just keeps coming back like the damn Terminator at the end of Child's Play 2. It's just a lot of fun. So I gotta go with Child's Play 2 over Nightmare 2. So we're 1-1 so far. And now let's go to Child's Play 3 versus Nightmare 3. Okay, come on. This one's not going to be much of a contest, to be honest. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors is considered one of the best horror sequels of all time. Child's Play 3 really doesn't get that much love. But I will say this in favor of Child's Play 3. It is on my list of underrated sequels. I don't look at it as a bad sequel. It's a little bit rushed. I mean, it came out like 10 months after Child's Play 2. It was already in pre-production when they were getting ready to release Child's Play 2. It's a little bit rushed. It's a little bit jarring to see Andy Barclay with a time jump, now a teenager played by a different actor. That's certainly a choice. But the whole student military academy setting is a fresh setting. I do like that. I do like a lot of the new characters. Not Tyler, though. I think Tyler, for some reason, was so nice as a kid. I just wanted to have a little bit more edge to him. And Tyler just fell for everything Chucky put him through. Just kept getting duped and duped over and over again. I'm like, this kid has to be smarter than that. But solid setting there, fun end sequence. The whole thing in the end of Child's Play 3 in the amusement park, the little carnival thing that the best damn haunted house ever, that last haunted ride with all the stuff inside there. It's better than things I've seen at Disney World's haunted house stuff. So amazing ending for Child's Play 3. It's a solid movie, but come on. We can't really compare it to Dream Wars. I'm going to be doing much bigger reviews on all these movies. So that's why I don't want to go too much into detail on my thoughts here because I'm breaking down these movies in greater depth very soon. But Nightmare 3 is an absolute classic, so you got to go with that over Child's Play 3. On to Nightmare 4 versus Bride of Chucky. Man, me and my friend Larry, we watched Bride of Chucky when we were teenagers, and we laughed our asses off. Listen, the first three movies is toying with the idea of Chucky being funny, but Bride of Chucky, I mean, they go full-blown, let's lean into Chucky being a damn stand-up comedian. Let's give him a doll wife. Let's let them hit the road, make it a road trip movie. Bride of Chucky is just pure fun. Directed by Ronnie Yu, who I like what he did here a lot more than what he did in Freddy vs. Jason, if I'm being honest. But he definitely has a very distinct visual style that's on display here. Bride of Chucky is a lot of fun, but this one is very tough for me because I'm one of those people that actually feel like Dream Master is very underrated. Dream Master also has, to me, distinct visuals. I do like the characters. I know that everybody hates what happened to the surviving Dream Warriors from Part 3. They all get disposed of in the first 20 minutes, which I can see is sort of off-putting and annoying, but I like all the new characters. I like Alice. I like Rick. Freddy here, man, I'll tell you what. Leading in comedy, of course, but I think still the right balance. It's not full-blown Nightmare 5, Freddy's dead Freddy yet. He's still attempting to take his job seriously, let's just say that. I like the whole final church sequence with him and Alice. I like everything about Dream Master. I can't wait till it comes out in 4K. I'm going to love watching that movie in 4K. And my God, the soundtrack to Dream Master. Are you kidding me? Drama Rama. Tuesday Night's Nightmare Song. Amazing. That soundtrack is great. So this is a very tough one for me. Probably the hardest one for me because I'm a huge fan of Bride of Chucky and I'm a huge fan of Dream Master. But, man, I'll tell you what. I'm going to give a slight edge to Bride of Chucky. A slight edge. Listen, I think they're both great movies, and they're both on my top list of horror sequels, but I think Bride of Chucky is a little bit better than Dream Master, but very close. Okay, so what's our count now? We are basically what? We are 2-2. Yeah, yep. So we have Nightmare 1, then we have Child's Play 2, Nightmare 3, and now Bride of Chucky. So we're 2-2 heading into, this was going to be tough. Number 5, round 5, we have Seed of Chucky versus Elm Street 5. Now, these two movies are both very polarizing, and, well, they both are pretty much, again, now in the Child's Play, at this point, after seeing the success of Bride of Chucky, they're going to maybe go a little bit even more over the top leading into comedy. You got Chucky running Britney Spears off the damn road. Him and Tiffany have a son. There's a lot done with that storyline. Meanwhile, in the Elm Street world, the continued adventures of Alice, who I'm a huge fan of Alice as a main character. I think she's damn near just as good as Nancy and really does fill a void here without Nancy. But Elm Street 5, I mean, the whole thing with, the kid Jacob, who I didn't think was a good actor, a child actor. I didn't think he did as good job as, for example, like say like an Alex Vincent. But again, I blame the director mostly for putting the actor and the writing in awkward moments. Um, the makeup for Freddy looks so bad in Elm Street 5 as well. Meanwhile, Sea of Chucky, I conflicted feelings. I hated Sea of Chucky growing up, but I think we did a podcast for Sea of Chucky a year or two ago, and once I bought in the idea that this is just full blown comedy, the movie made me laugh all throughout. There's some great, great Chucky monologues and fun things said here. So I'm actually gonna go with Seed of Chucky over Elm Street 5. I just think Elm Street 5 is probably the weakest movie in the Elm Street franchise. And I think that, in all honesty, I think that Seed of Chucky is probably a little bit underrated. So, okay, well, that's meaning to say that Child's Play is now taking a 3-2 lead. 3-2 lead. Yep. Okay. Okay, so Child's Play is taking a 3-2 lead as we head into round 6, which is Curse of Chucky versus Freddy's Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6. And this one is where I'm about to catch a hell of a lot of slack. This is a round I knew going in. This is going to be the hot take round. Yes, I see you at home. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, don't do it, Vic. Don't do what we think you may want to do. But listen, this is just my opinion, right? Just my perspective. And in every franchise, there's one movie that I feel is truly underrated. In Halloween, I'm always the one defending Halloween 6. Uh, and Friday 13th, I think that I've come around to being the one defending Jason Takes Manhattan and Jason Goes to Hell. And the Nightmare on Elm Street series, I personally, I get a kick out of Freddy's Dead. I know. Listen, I know that everybody, has a problem with Freddy's Dead, but I've never actually heard a bad review. I've watched a lot of bad reviews or reviews that are really hating Freddy's Dead, but I've never seen a review that actually convinced me like why everybody hates the movie. I understand that there's a lot of stupid stuff in it, but I feel the same way I feel about Seed of Chucky. Once I see that they're leaning into this as basically more comedy, then I can just laugh my ass off and have a good time with it. So for me, Freddy, yes, Robert Englund himself said that with Freddy's Dead, they jumped the shark, and I get that completely. But I don't know. I still, for me, the movie does have rewatchability. I do watch Freddy's Dead and smile, and some of it might be there's a nostalgic bias because when I was a kid, we rented Freddy's Dead on video, so I watched it with the family on video when I was a kid. So I do have a memory of enjoying watching that with the family. Now, on the other hand, Curse of Chucky is a great reboot to the franchise because after Seed of Chucky didn't do well at the box office, so they wanted to, the series went dormant for a while, and when they came back, they wanted to take it back to a more serious direction. And it works for the most part. It's a solid, scary film. I think what I would say with Curse of Chucky is just that there's nothing really wrong with it, but nothing really stands out to me. Like, it's not a memorable film, but I can't say there's anything I like really dislike about it. It's kind of like it's probably the most average film in the Child's Play series because with like Sea of Chucky, for example, you may love it or hate it depending on if you get into comedy. I feel like with Curse of Chucky, probably most people are just going to have a fairly pleasant time with it. But does anything really stand out? Not for me. Like it's one of those movies that I wouldn't mind rewatching, but I never ever have gotten like a pull to go back and rewatch it. It's just a decent solid entry. Now I know, you may argue that hey, that alone should be enough to put it over above Freddy's Dead, but I don't know. This is the hot take of the video for me because I'm gonna side with Freddy's Dead, making it 3-3. Child's Play versus Elm Street, heading into round 7. Our final round to determine the stronger overall franchise. And I'm gonna go ahead and just lay it out right now. In case you don't know the two choices, we have Cult of Chucky going up against New Nightmare, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Listen, at the final round, I mean, this is the climax, so you wish we had a more, interesting, climatic, close battle here. But I mean, let's be honest. New Nightmare is a better film than Cult of Chucky. Cult of Chucky is actually a lot of people don't like Cult of Chucky also, and I think that the movie is a bit of a mess. There's maybe too much going on. It kind of takes the simplicity of Curse of Chucky and throws it out the window for a much more elaborate, multiple Chucky, a lot of shit going on in this movie. And in some ways, ultimately, in terms of its role in the franchise, it seems like Cult of Chucky, if nothing, is more like a pilot for the TV show. It's more leading to the TV show. So I don't know. I think that the movie doesn't really. I don't have a strong opinion about it negatively, but I don't really. Just like kind of like Curse of Chucky, I don't know if I'd ever really want to go back and watch Cult of Chucky. New Nightmare, meanwhile, is just a brilliantly written film. So much good stuff going on here. So meta. Really, really takes its role as like a precursor to Scream. This is 1994, Scream 1996, both directed by Wes Craven. But I mean, I wish that the idea, the concept of New Nightmare would have itself been turned into a franchise. Of course, that never happened. Okay, so ultimately, that's going to put Nightmare up 4-3, making Nightmare the winner of this video as the overall stronger. Well, wait a minute though. I'm going to say something, throw something out there. If you're a Child's Play fan, you can take solace in that this video may actually not be in favor of Nightmare. It might still be a tie because both franchises did put out a TV show. I watched the Nightmare TV show Freddy's Nightmares recently. You can find it, I believe I saw it on Pluto TV, but it's mostly on YouTube as well, Freddy's Nightmares. It's more of an anthology film or anthology show. It's kind of more like Tales from the Crypt, so I guess it's hard to maybe place in that same way as being a part of the franchise, but Freddy hosts a lot of the episodes, and there's like about 4 episodes that feature Freddy Krueger himself in the show, so it's got to count. It's a decent show, but I've only seen the first season of the Chucky TV show, but from what I saw, the Chucky TV show would seem to be a much higher quality than Freddy's Nightmares. So there's a saving grace to maybe where Child's Play can still tie Nightmare, and that's with the TV show being better than Freddy's Nightmare. And also the Chucky TV show, I mean, that really goes deep into the mythology, or I should say the history of Chucky, bringing back characters from all the movies. Still not bringing back Detective Mike, though, again, who should be, Chucky's mortal enemy. But either way, no secret here. There's some bias on my takes. Nightmare on Elm Street probably is one of my favorite horror franchises altogether. I do like Child's Play a lot. We reviewed it last year. Chucky, I think, is up there with anybody in terms of pure iconic franchise horror villain. But Freddy's getting the W here. Nightmare's getting the W. In the comments, let me know which franchise do you prefer, what's your favorite movie from each franchise. And until next time, you guys take care.